Backwoodsman Institute. My name's FROMME. So you went ahead and you harvested yourself a turkey this year, and you're wanting to save the tail and make a fan and save the beard and maybe the spurs. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to go about doing that. Now before we go any further, in a previous video, the processing turkey, I kind of showed you all how to remove the tail and the beard and the spurs. So let's take a little look at that real quick and I'll get back with you. Okay, all I'm going to do is find the vent right there, and I'm going to cut it over the top of it. You find the tailbone of the turkey. I'm just going to cut it off. What I'm going to do is, to get that off of there, I'm going to pull out as much of the skin as I can, and I'm going to cut a lot of the skin with it. And there you go. Okay, next I'm just going to cut the leg off here at the joint. So if you follow the joint there a little bit. So you remove the tail and the beard and the feet. So what's next? Well, let me show you what all the kind of different stuff you're going to need to preserve everything. Okay, here's the items we have so far. We got the turkey tail, we got the feet, we got the beard. What else you're going to need tool-wise? You're going to need some type of real sharp knife. I like using a small fillet knife. That seems to work pretty well, especially when you're skinning at the tail. You're going to need some type of hacksaw to cut the spurs off, or however you want to do the feet. You're also going to need a wire brush, and that's to clean out the fat and stuff in between the quills of the turkey fan. You're also going to need some push pins or some real small nails. Here I got some real small finish nails that when we spread the fan out, to kind of tack it in place and so it can dry. A good piece of cardboard, because this is where we're going to put the fan at, and we're going to tack the fan down and spread it out so that it dries in a flat position. You're going to need some borax. This is just regular 20 Mule Team borax that I picked up at in the laundry detergent section in a grocery store. And you're going to need some type of salt. The thing what you want is you want salt with no iodine in it. I removed the actual tail from the feathers of the fan of the turkeys, leaving some of the skin on there to hold everything together. Now here I went down on one side. I just started trimming and following the quills of the main fan, the big tall feathers, and then your secondary feathers that are in the front, that's actually attached to kind of the part of the skin that's on the top of the tail. Now depending on how many of those feathers you want to keep is how far down you're going to save the skin part of that. Now I'm just going to keep maybe one row of secondary feathers, because what I'm going to do is put a plaque over the top of a pretty good sized plaque over it. So as you can see here, I ended up with the row of quills for the main ones, and then down here you can kind of see a secondary row of quills, and that's for your secondary feathers. So if I kind of fan this out a little bit, you can kind of see you got your main part, and then here's your secondary feathers. Depending on how many layers of feathers you want to keep is how much of that skin you want to keep with it. So the next step is, in between all these quills is fat. Our brush in between the quills in there and remove as much of that fat as you can possibly get. And any piece of meat or anything that's on there, you want to try and remove as much as possible. But like I said, you want to leave enough of the skin on there, because that's what's going to hold it all together. About a half and half salt and half the borax. Now the salt's going to help preserve any of the meat that's in there and the hide that's there, and help dry it out. And the borax is what's going to keep like bugs and stuff from getting in there and eating all that stuff away from there. So we're going to mix up a little bit in the bowl, about half and half, and I want to lay the fan out, and we're going to pack it in with that mixture of salt and borax. Okay, we got the fan here, and I got a little big bowl mixed up with the salt and the borax. And what we're going to do next is I'm just going to mix that up, make sure it's all mixed up real good, and then I'm going to start just rubbing it in and mixing it in every little crack and rubbing in there real good. pack it in there on both sides. Okay, after that's all rubbed in there real good, we're going to go ahead and tack it out on this piece of cardboard. So that pretty well takes care of the fan part of it. You can kind of see a little bit. I used some white little finish nails here so you can kind of see them. I got them all tacked out here, kind of the way I want it. You don't want it perfectly flat. You want to leave it up a little bit, maybe a few degrees, 30 degrees or so, coming up off the base there. Kind of spread them out the best you can and pin it down so that when the tail part of it dries, if you don't do that, it may twist up or do something strange on you. So watch it, maybe stick it in a cool, dry spot. Let it sit for weeks, maybe 3 weeks at a minimum. Some even longer. It just depends on how much you want to dry it. I may not mess with this tail here for, I keep an eye on it, make sure that it's drying good, but I probably won't actually do the final finishing touch or put it onto the plaque, maybe till this fall sometime. Now we're going to move on to the beard part of it. Now the beard I'll probably attach to the fan mount somehow. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do that yet, but so I'll worry about that later. But so here's the beard. I cut it off here with the skin. Now all I did was trim all the skin and as much of the fat off as I could. And basically all I'm going to do now is rub it down with that salt and borax mixture I did and pack it real good and just let it dry. Okay, next we're going to deal with the leg part of it. There's all kinds of different ways you can go about doing stuff with the legs as far as drying it, making hangers or something with the feet, or somebody's keep the whole feet all together. They just rub salt and borax down on the end and dry it like it is. I've cut the spurs off completely even with the leg, but on this one here I'm going to go ahead and cut it on both sides of the spur. So here's what I got left after I cut the spurs and the leg part of it. I cut it and then I skinned it, and you can see that I cleaned the marrow out of the bone there. So what I'm going to do with this, I'll rub the salt and borax stuff on here and just set it aside to dry too. So when I want to put it all together, figure out how I want to do it, then I'll just go ahead and grind some of this bone down and however I want to and fix it up from there. Hope you guys got a little bit out of this video. Catch you out in the woods.